Part 66. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 651. The current situation of Akatsuki and the Insect King, Green Xiaoming, is like a stick hitting a wolf, and both sides are afraid of it. In terms of strength, Akatsuki naturally has an absolute upper hand. Both sides know this. But as the saying goes, the barefoot are not afraid of the ones wearing shoes. From this perspective, it is obvious that Xiaoming is the barefoot. Akatsuki still has big things to do. Now they can neither kill Xiaoming nor are they afraid that Xiaoming will cause trouble for them. Seeking peace is also a helpless move. If they can't reach an agreement, then Akatsuki must do everything possible to get rid of Xiaoming, the variable. Even at the cost of summoning Uchiha Madara in advance. Uchiha attackist Tsukuyomi lost to Xiaoming, which made Akatsuki think that the Insect King has extremely strong mental power and illusion ability. It is very likely that he also has Tsukuyomi ability. Obito's Sharingan's spatial ability is almost unsolvable, but Tsukuyomi, a trick that specifically attacks the mind, is Obito's nemesis. There are tens of thousands of white Zetsu, but there is only one black Zetsu, and black Zetsu is dead if attacked by Tsukuyomi. So these two will definitely not face Xiaoming directly. Even if it is Xiaoming's shadow clone, because he doesn't want to be remembered. Only the 6 paths of pain controlled by Nagato Uzumaki, the leader of the Akatsuki organization, is equivalent to a puppet, and is not afraid of Tsukuyomi. This time the 6 paths appeared together to show their strength. I hope to exert a little deterrent power. This shows that there are many masters in the Akatsuki organization. Although Xiaoming defeated 4, the organization can still send 6. For those who don't know the foundation, it is really terrifying. Anyone should think about it. If you defeat these 6, will there be 8 next time? This move really scared Xiaoming. The 6 paths of pain is information that Uchiha Itachi did not have. Pain's attitude was very upright. First, he apologized to the Akatsuki organization for testing the Insect King first. Then he said that there is no acquaintance without fighting, and everyone cherishes heroes. I hope to turn hostility into friendship and cooperate strategically. If it is really not smooth, everyone can also keep out of the well. For this reason, the Akatsuki organization is willing to provide some compensation. This has given Xiaoming enough face. Xiaoming himself is not from this world, and he does not have a deep hatred with the Akatsuki organization. If there is hatred, it should be others who hate Xiaoming. Because Xiaoming did not suffer any loss, and he also killed and injured several people on the other side. The Akatsuki organization promised not to pursue the previous matter, which is already a big concession. Faced with the tyrannical strength of the Akatsuki organization, Xiaoming was shocked. Since they are willing to apologize, there is no need for him to fight to the end with them. So the two sides quickly reached a settlement. Pain provided some symbolic property as compensation. Xiaoming returned the rings of Haiden and Kakuzu to Pain, and Pain provided an additional piece of information for this. There was a member of the Akatsuki organization who left, named Orochimaru. He conducted cruel live research on a large number of ninjas. He also obtained a lot of ninjutsu, including relevant information on blood limit. Pain provided this information, just to let Xiaoming go to trouble Orochimaru. No ninja can resist the temptation of this information. Pain believed that Xiaoming should be the same. For this reason, he also told Xiaoming the location of several Orochimaru bases. Since the Akatsuki organization had no interest in researching Orochimaru, they needed him to attract attention for the Akatsuki organization. That's why they let Orochimaru defect and didn't take action to deal with him. Otherwise, with Akatsuki's strength, Orochimaru would have been dead long ago. Not to mention, Xiaoming was really interested in Orochimaru's research results. There were enough people, and some of the shadow clones went to various bases of Orochimaru. At this time, Orochimaru had been killed by Uchiha Sasuke. The various bases were leaderless and fell into chaos. During this period, Sasuke wandered around several bases to collect his favorite subordinates. Kabuto Yakushi also wandered around various bases to collect blood limit. Both of them were local snakes, and their efficiency was much faster than Xiaoming's shadow clones. Soon they each collected what they needed and left. Xiaoming's shadow clone only picked up some leftovers and treated them as treasures. Although he didn't get anything really awesome, it was just right for Xiaoming, and he could lay a more solid foundation. However, Xiaoming got some information about bloodline limits from these materials. There are two major categories of bloodline limits. The first category, in the Naruto world, the nature changes of chakra are divided into 7 types: fire, wind, thunder, earth, water, yang, and yin. When 2 or more chakra nature changes are mixed and used at the same time, a new escape technique will be produced, which is called bloodline limit. For example, wind plus water equals ice, earth plus water equals wood. Usually only a very small number of ninjas can develop this new escape technique by themselves. Once successful, this new escape technique will be recorded in the ninja's genes and passed on to their next generation through blood relations. The second category, some ninjas have an organ that is different from ordinary people and their abilities also belong to bloodline limits. Such as the Uchiha clan's Sharingan, the Hyuga clan's Byakugan, etc. Unfortunately, the bloodline limits of organs are all taken by Kabuto Yakushi. Xiaoming didn't get it. Xiaoming didn't know many of Orochimaru's bases. But since he had all 7 types of chakra changes, he could develop his own bloodline limit. So the 3 Xiaomings each found a secret and complex cave to hide in. They concentrated on opening their own bloodline limits. There was one downside to being a VIP. The reincarnation space no longer gave out tasks, nor did it prompt the plot. If Xiaoming wants to follow the plot, he must follow the protagonist. However, Xiaoming can't join Uzumaki Naruto's team. Uzumaki Naruto is under the strict protection of Konoha, and Xiaoming can't follow him. In addition, from this point onwards, most of the plots are actually closely related to the Akatsuki organization. Xiaoming doesn't know, and stupidly reached a consensus with the Akatsuki organization, and the two sides don't interfere with each other. According to reason, they should avoid each other. So Xiaoming was confused and avoided all the plot events. In the end, forget it. Xiaoming decided to concentrate on studying his own blood limit. And Xiaoming didn't stay in the Naruto world all the time. When the research had a little success, Xiaoming's intuition felt that danger was coming. He didn't replenish the spiritual power of the trapped dragon wristband and withdrew from the reincarnation world. Xiaoming's impression of the Naruto world, or the Konoha ninja village, was not particularly good. So he didn't plan to spend a lot of effort to help Konoha. The younger generation of ninjas are generally pretty good, but the leaders of the Konoha high-ranking officials and the powerful families are not good people. Especially after discovering the root organization led by Shimura Danzo. Xiaoming can no longer simply regard Konoha as a righteous camp. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 652. I believe that all those who are familiar with the plot of Naruto are sighing for Zhang Xiaoming. It's such a loss. There are countless good things in the Naruto world, and Xiaoming is fully capable of getting them, but because of insufficient information, he missed most of them. However, for this otaku who doesn't know the plot, our expectations should not be too high. Looking at the current gains, Xiaoming already feels very satisfied. First, he has learned a considerable number of low and medium level ninjutsu, as well as a certain number of high level ninjutsu. He has also gradually become familiar with the fighting methods of ninjas. His shadow clone can barely reach the level of C-level Chunin for the time being. Second, Xiaoming has also made great progress in illusion. His powerful mental power combined with the Mangekyo Sharinan has a great advantage when performing illusions. In terms of illusions alone, he is no less than Uchiha Itachi, which is a cheating method brought by the 6th level mental power. Although the skills are still far behind and need to be improved urgently. However, with the 6th level mental power, Xiaoming can force the illusion to achieve the desired effect. If you used Tsukuyomi, it is almost an invincible ability. This is a means that can harm even a 7th level opponent. Facing an A-level enemy, Xiaoming finally has a real killer. Third, Xiaoming's Sharinan also copied another ability, which is Heitake Kakashi's Kamyu. Kakashi's Sharinan is connected to a unique different space, which belongs to space-time ninjutsu. You can teleport yourself and any object into a unique different space. This different space actually belongs to Heitake Kakashi and Uchiha Obito. Because their Sharinan was originally a pair. Later, Kakashi learned to achieve the purpose of fast movement by absorbing and releasing himself in space. That is, absorbing himself at point A and then releasing it from point B, you can quickly move from point A to point B. Kakashi can also teleport the enemy's attack or the enemy itself over a long distance, or a part of the enemy's body, which can be used for attack and defense. The disadvantage is that Kakashi needs to spend a certain amount of time to accumulate enough chakra. There are not many ninjas with Sharinan in the Naruto world. The targets for copying are also limited. According to the agreement, Xiaoming needs to avoid Obito and Itachi in the Akatsuki organization, and they will actually avoid Xiaoming. Xiaoming doesn't know where Sasuke is. Danzo's whereabouts are even more strange, and he always has powerful guards, and his eyes are always tightly covered. Xiaoming dare not act rashly. So Kakashi, who has a Sharinan, is the most suitable copy target. Kakashi, who is known as the copy ninja, finally tasted the taste of being copied. It's really a good turn of events. Of course, the ability of Kamui naturally changed again when it fell into Xiaoming's hands. The Kamui copied by Xiaoming is connected to the different space that belongs to Xiaoming himself, Guangmingding. Kunlun is the world cultivated by Xiaoming himself, not an ordinary different dimension. They couldn't be connected together. Originally, Guangmingding was just a different space developed by Xiaoming's telekinesis, but now it has been added by ninjutsu. Xiaoming's chakra is richer than telekinesis. After copying the Kamui, Bright Summit was actually connected to Kakashi's space. Xiaoming's controllable range immediately expanded from more than 500 cubic meters to more than 5,000 cubic meters. It suddenly increased tenfold, making Xiaolu in the space a little uncomfortable. Of course, Xiaolu was only happy that the territory had expanded. Now he can finally stretch out. For this reason, Xiaoming also got a piece of Orochimaru's base from the Naruto world and moved it into Bright Summit as a carrier for Xiaolu to parasitize. Kakashi's Sharinan connects to the space, which is the essence of his Sharinan. Although Kakashi has not reached the level of the Mangekyo Sharinan at this moment, he can also be copied by Xiaoming. Because it is a copied ability, Xiaoming's Sharinan is definitely not as powerful as the original pair of eyes. So Xiaoming only touched a small part of the space. This made him so happy that he didn't know what to do, and the volume was expanded 10 times for nothing. Xiaoming should be thankful that he left early and packed up this alien space and took it away. In the subsequent wars, Kakashi really threw a lot of garbage into the space, including many explosives. It would be terrible if Guangmingding was blown up. His parents' game cabin, as well as Xiaohong and Xiaolu, are all in this space. Maybe the danger that Xiaoming intuitively felt was this matter. Of course, using Kamui to attack and defend at a distance was a trick that Kakashi developed later, and it is not available now. Xiaoming naturally failed to copy it. If Xiaoming can think of this application method, he can also develop it himself. However, with his IQ, it may be a bit difficult. Fourth, copy to the second Sharinan. Xiaoming naturally activated the ability of Susanoo. The essence of Susanoo is a kind of materialized chakra, and the huge chakra forms a human shape to surround the caster. It is like a huge mecha, completely controlled by the caster. It is an integrated attack and defense super ability. Of course, the amount of chakra consumed is also quite huge. Xiaoming has only activated the initial form so far, with only his arms and ribs changing with chakra. Xiaoming has heard Uchiha Itachi explain in detail that this ability has great potential for development in the future. Xiaoming will vigorously study it in the future. At this stage, it can only be put on hold. Because Xiaoming is developing his own bloodline limit. As mentioned earlier, Xiaoming retreated to develop his own bloodline limit. He really made some progress. Fifth, Xiaoming integrated all 7 changes in chakra into the shadow clone and developed a new 7 stars shadow clone. Compared with the previous shadow clone, the 7 stars shadow clone is closer to Xiaoming's original body. It has the physical properties of the 4th level primary and the mental power of the 3rd level primary. All the supernatural energies that Xiaoming already has, the 7 stars shadow clone has. And the amount is not low. The previous shadow clone only had more chakra, and the other supernatural energies were only a little bit, and they were gone once used. And each of the 7 stars shadow clone is equivalent to having a small energy network. A 7 stars shadow clone is equivalent to Xiaoming himself without source energy and with slightly worse properties. Almost all of Xiaoming's abilities can be used. Except for the skills that need to consume source energy. And the 7 stars shadow clone is absolutely dominated by the spiritual kingdom. The combat power has crossed several levels. Of course, this kind of shadow clone consumes a lot of energy. For the time being, only about 50 can exist at the same time. Xiaoming cannot replace all the shadow clones with the 7 stars shadow clone. These 2 types of shadow clones can only be used in combination. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 653. In terms of training, ordinary shadow clones can only help Xiaoming practice ninjutsu and taijutsu, with a little bit of other supernatural energy. But 7 stars shadow clone is different. They can help Xiaoming practice all supernatural energy, including spiritual power. 50 clones practice Changshen Qigong together. How fast will the progress be? There are also Taoist magic, telekinesis, force, Saint Seiya's small universe, Navy 6 styles, Death God's white fighting, Ghost way, flash step. Can all be practiced at high speed. Counting like this, it seems that 50 clones are not enough. Stop, people, don't be greedy and want more. Xiaoming is already very satisfied with it now. I believe that with the improvement of his own strength, the number of 7 stars shadow clone will increase. The future is bright. If the ordinary shadow clone, after Xiaoming's training, now barely reaches the level of C-level reincarnation. It is equivalent to the level of the 5th level junior professional in the game. Then the 7 stars shadow clone can at least reach the level of 5th level advanced. The energy is quite sufficient. And because the physicality of the 7 stars shadow clone is very high, plus Xiaoming has mastered the shaping ability in the 3 abilities of making people. The 7 stars shadow clone can even inherit some of Xiaoming's bloodline limits. For the time being, there are only Earth Grudge, Bian, and Sherry Non to choose from. There will be more and more choices in the future. Among them, the 7 stars shadow clone with Sherry Non can also use powerful skills such as Susanoo for a short time. It is extremely practical. Of course, granting bloodline limits requires Xiaoming to consume a lot of energy, and even a little source energy. So Xiaoming will not do it easily. The most regrettable thing for Xiaoming this time is that he missed the large amount of bloodline limits collected by Orochimaru. They were all taken away by Kabuto Yakushi first. When in Konoha village, Xiaoming did not dare to collect it in a big way, and he did not want to hurt or kill people for such a small matter. Later, he focused on studying the 7 stars shadow clone. Yin Xiaoming and Huang Xiaoming also hid and retreated. The collection was naturally interrupted. Therefore, Xiaoming just made the bloodline limit of the Byakugan more complete. Not only did it strengthen the Byakugan's ability to see far, see through, and see. He also learned the Hyuga family's unique skill, Kaiten. A powerful defensive ninjutsu used with the Byakugan. Xiaoming, whose defense is already strong enough, learned this is just the icing on the cake, just a small flower. As for the other bloodline limits of Konoha village, Xiaoming did not really collect them. The collected blood and flesh tissues are not enough to activate those bloodline limits. This is all caused by the collection method. Just picking up the blood and flesh dropped by the injured ninjas during training is indeed too little. If you catch a ninja to absorb it, you will definitely get the bloodline limit. But Xiaoming doesn't want to and can't do this. You must know that Xiaoming has to stab himself with the sword of judgment once a day. Such a bad thing will be punished by the sword of judgment. When Xiaoming practiced this trick, he would make such a restriction and oath. I was just worried that I would have evil thoughts in the future because of greed. So I took precautions in advance. Today, I think it was really foresighted. I admire myself a little. Maybe in the eyes of some people, this is a manifestation of indecision and lack of ambition. You can't become a strong man or do great things like this. But Xiaoming doesn't want to lose his bottom line for strength. Originally, Xiaoming wanted to stay for a while longer and continue to collect. A little bit makes a lot, and there will always be a time to collect enough. But because of the strong danger of intuitive warning, Xiaoming did not continue to stay in the Naruto world. Now think about it, it's really a pity. Let's talk about it next time. Even as a gold VIP of the reincarnation space, Zhang Xiaoming still does not have the right to enter the designated world. Does it have to be upgraded to Diamond VIP? Xiaoming doubted it a little. Back to the settlement space, the source energy rewards are very few, but better than nothing. Xiaoming did not cause much change to the Naruto world. The undead duo who were killed were also characters that were originally going to be killed by the plot. He got a lot of rewards in the world again. In this case, the source energy of the space reward is certainly not much. Back to the team space again, Xiaoming was immediately extorted by Xiao Jing'er and Wen Ji for a basic skill training room usage card. They need to continue to familiarize themselves with the skills they have learned. Xiaoming wanted to talk to Zhang Wen about the Sharinan. But Wen Ji was too fast and turned around and went into the training room. Xiaoming opened his mouth and didn't say anything before he disappeared. Well, let's talk about it after he comes out. When he came here, Xiao liked to play in Huiguo Mountain, which was very suitable for him. Not only was the spiritual energy relatively rich, but there were also many cute little animals in the mountain. Xiao was particularly willing to run to be the king. The king of this Huiguo Mountain is not the Monkey King Sun Wukong, but the little Xiao of the Xinwei Dragon clan. Mao loved Xiao the most and went to be a nanny with him. Xiaoming suddenly discovered that Mao's state is very similar to that of Uchiha Itachi, the brother control. In addition, Xiao Shenan had never been to Huiguo Mountain. Under Mao's strong urging, he also went to play. Huang Xiaoming and Lu Xiaoming also had to go to play with the children. Yin Xiaoming was stopped by 2 foreign players. Kraken said, "Master, do you have any extra energy blocks you gave me last time? Can you sell me a few more? I'd be very grateful." Before Xiaoming could speak, Yujian Guangan Zhaozhou who suddenly interrupted and said, "Oh, I forgot, I want that energy block too." Then he started to mutter, My great-grandfather asked me to make it last month, but I forgot it completely. My memory is so bad. He said a lot of nonsense. After getting to know each other, Zhao Zhuzhu no longer had the aloof feeling before. It was surprising. But he had forgotten what happened last month until today, and only remembered it after someone reminded him. This forgetfulness is really amazing. Xiaoming admired him deeply. At the same time, he didn't expect that they would actually ask to buy his energy blocks. In Xiaoming's mind, the forces behind these two should be greater than those of the Li family or Zhang Shizu's lineage. I didn't expect that the forces behind them would actually be interested in the hacker energy blocks he made. Especially Zhao Zhuzhu. Kraken obviously belongs to the technology side, and they want to accumulate more high-quality energy blocks, which is a relatively normal demand. Anyway, they have to buy it, and it doesn't matter who you place the order to. There is nothing wrong with making friends with a reincarnation in this way. Zhao Zhuzhu is different. He was born in the Dragon Clan. Xiaoming thought that energy blocks were just a novelty for the Dragon Clan. Would there really be demand for them? This was because Xiaoming greatly underestimated the true value of the hacker energy blocks he made. The Xian family and ordinary reincarnations all regarded Xiaoming's hacker energy blocks as ordinary energy blocks. This was because they were not knowledgeable enough. Only Kraken and Zhao Zhuzhu's backgrounds truly understood the peculiarities of Xiaoming's energy blocks. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 654. Energy blocks, like food and weapons, are strategic materials. Small and medium-sized forces will not hoard them unless they focus on technology. However, it is different for larger forces. They will never focus on only one supernatural energy, as it is too easy to be targeted. Therefore, slightly larger forces will dabble in various aspects. Technology is also indispensable, and naturally there is a demand for energy blocks. If they are on the technological side but cannot use energy blocks, it only means that their level is slightly low. Energy blocks will always have a market on the technological side. But Xiaoming's energy blocks were purchased at a high price by these two foreign players for other reasons. Ordinary and normal energy blocks are the product of technological civilization. They are collected and made by technological means. It is not difficult for the two of them to get them, and there is no need to look for Xiaoming specifically. There are too many traces of source energy involved in the energy blocks that Xiaoming tinkered with. In the eyes of people with a high enough level, they can find the extraordinary in it. The two of them can't see it yet. After Kraken got it, he kept one as a backup, sold one, and handed one in. The one that was handed in was directly consumed by the superior without causing any trouble. He only received a verbal praise of good quality. On the contrary, the one that was sold was bought by a person who knew the goods very well. After several twists and turns, after confirming the quality, the man asked Kraken to get a few more at a high price. As a dragon, Zhao Zhuzhu originally liked this kind of shiny and energetic things. He decorated these 3 energy blocks in his bedroom. Then naturally, they were seen by family and friends. His great-grandfather felt the peculiarity of them. Of course, he no longer needed this kind of thing. He just told Zhao Zhuzhu calmly that if he had the chance to get a few more pieces, he could share them with his brothers and sisters, which would be good. The great-grandfather just said it casually, and Zhao Zhuzhu didn't take it too seriously. Otherwise, he wouldn't have forgotten it so thoroughly. In Xiaoming's mind, these two are both rich people, and there is no need to pay for the goods. This is not a bulk transaction, and there is no need to negotiate the price in advance. Xiaoming directly piled 10 energy blocks per person, looking forward to the good things that can be exchanged in the future. Master, do you have time this time? Let's team up to play together, Zhao Zhuzhu put the energy blocks into the space equipment and proposed. Playing together in the reincarnation space refers to a temporary team of several people to open a random mission world. To be honest, this kind of playing together does not take up time in the real world. Whether to play together or not depends mainly on whether the reincarnationist is in the mood. Last time, Zhao Zhuzhu also proposed to play together. At that time, Xiaoming was worried about something else and was really not in the mood, so he declined. This time, Xiaoming also counted on Zhao Zhuzhu to help him get good things back. Even if he was not in the mood, he had to go. What's more, Xiaoming had just gained a lot in the Naruto world and was in a good mood, so he readily agreed. This is the first time that Zhang Xiaoming, Kraken, and Zhao Zhuzhu have teamed up to play together. All three of them are privileged guys. The reincarnation space also automatically selected a world suitable for 3 people, Avatar. In the dense forest of Pandora, 3 strange-looking guys looked at each other. The one who looks like a big bug standing up is naturally our insect king Green Xiaoming, who is covered with the insect holy clothes. Silver Xiaoming and Huang Xiaoming are not here, they are human bodies, so they naturally appear at the human base. Only these 3 people who don't look like humans will be arranged as the natives of Pandora and appear in the depths of the dense forest. On the left-hand side of the insect king is a half-dragon and half-human guy wearing golden scales. Needless to say, it is a sword light shining coldly on the 9 states. On the right-hand side is a very simple 4-legged and 4-armed combat robot, and a large 8-clawed octopus is entrenched in the robot. 8 tentacles are wrapped around the 8 limbs of the robot. At first glance, this octopus does not seem to be afraid of leaving the water. However, the insect king's white eyes are observant, and the octopus's body seems to be covered with a layer of high-tech tights. There is always liquid flowing under the surface of the clothes. Judging from the newness of this octopus tights, Xiaoming estimated that it should be a new piece of clothing. Earlier this month, when the Mingjing team went to the Qinglong branch, Xiaoming had seen Kraken and a fish in a robot reporting their work. At that time, Xiaoming guessed that Kraken should also be an aquatic creature. Now I don't feel so shocked when I see it. Judging from the life energy of these 2 people, Yujian Guangan Zhao Zhuzhu's strength is probably stronger than Zinshui. It is between B and an A-. Kraken is in this robot at present, and its combat power is only about sea level. However, the strength of this kind of robot driver on the technology side fluctuates. It mainly depends on how strong the robot is. Xiaoming never expected that the mission world this time actually lifted the disguise of the 3 people. And Kraken and Zhao Zhuzhu should have discussed this matter, and both of them were very calm. There was no violent fluctuation in life energy. The only one who didn't know in advance was Xiaoming. You must know that before entering the Avatar world, or when exiting the Naruto world, the Insect King used the transformation technique as usual. At this time, he revealed his true form, but he didn't realize it. After seeing the appearance of Kraken and Zhao Zhuzhu, he realized belatedly that he also appeared in the form of a bug human. Master, I think we should get to know each other again. It's tiring to keep hiding it. It was indeed a strong enough reason. He was tired and decided not to pretend anymore. He is indeed a dragon. Zhao Zhuzhu stretched out his right claw to Lu Xiaoming and said, I am a dragon. I can't tell you my home address for the time being. But I usually live in Europa, the 2nd satellite of Jupiter. I am nicknamed Yujian Guangan Zhao Zhuzhu. Kraken also stretched out a mechanical arm over there, I am XXXX, commonly known as Octopus Man, also called Tentacle Monster. Kraken is the surname of our family. His voice was synthesized by the machine, and it was also quite nice. The Insect King stretched out his 2 front claws and shook hands with both of them. He was a little embarrassed when introducing himself. Xiaoming seems to have too many identities. Does he have to introduce all 3 identities? Seeing that the master was hesitant and wanted to say something, Zhao Zhuzhu spoke up to help Xiaoming out. Master, you have the ability to incarnate, we all know that. Just tell us one identity. This is much easier. Xiaoming said, I am a human, a Pangu, and my nickname in space is Master. Oh, by the way, I have 3 bodies, you know. Since they already knew, Xiaoming no longer concealed it. Then the 3 of them talked as openly as possible. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 655. The Dragon Clan belongs to the cosmic level. Xiaoming doesn't know which one is bigger, the Dragon Clan or the 3 major races of humans, gods, and insects 1.5 million years ago. In front of Zhao Zhuzhu, Xiaoming didn't dare to mention the 3 major races. He didn't dare to ask Zhao Zhuzhu about his position in the Dragon Clan. The huge Dragon Clan is undoubtedly stronger than the entire Pangu star combined. Among them, Gao Long happened to discover Xiaoming's specialness. As for who discovered it? How did he discover it? What exactly was discovered? Xiaoming didn't ask these questions, and it is estimated that he would never get an answer. Zhao Zhuzhu only said that his opportunity was here with Xiaoming. That's why he took the initiative to join the Mingjing team. His current rating of reincarnation is still B level, which is still a little short of A level. He never mentioned his privileges in the reincarnation space. After chatting with him, Xiaoming found that except that he was a Dragon Clan, he didn't seem to know anything. And Xiaoming had guessed that he was a Dragon Clan. As if sensing Xiaoming's depression, Zhao Zhuzhu apologized. I'm really sorry, some things are forbidden, I really can't say them. When you reach a certain position in the future, you will know naturally. Believe me, it won't be too far. Xiaoming smiled bitterly, it doesn't matter, I also have many secrets that I can't tell. Same for everyone. After thinking for a while, he added, please help me get a good price for those energy blocks. Please. Zhao Zhuzhu naturally agreed to this request. In fact, Xiaoming had another question to ask, but he didn't dare to ask. Zhao Zhuzhu had a dragon head and a very neutral figure. Xiaoming suddenly found that he didn't know his gender all along. Although he disguised himself as a young man before, was he really a boy? This is not necessarily true, right? If it was an ordinary person, under the investigation of Xiaoming's circle, scan, and white eyes, the secrets of the body could not be hidden at all. Since Xiaoming had the circle, he had seen too much. Now he has reached the state of color is emptiness and emptiness is color. But according to the dragon aura around Zhuzhu, he protected himself very well. Xiaoming couldn't see through him. After the octopus Kraken lost his disguise, Xiaoming saw through him. According to him, Kraken is his family name. If his name is translated into Chinese, it is similar to Xiaoming. It also means light and brightness. Xiaoming was very upset and decided to call him Kraken. The civilization from which Kraken came originated from the seabed. After tens of thousands of years of development, it became the ruler of a galaxy about 1/3 the size of the Milky Way. After that, his civilization joined the big family of cosmic civilization. As for what this big family is like, Kraken can't say. From what he said, this so-called big family of cosmic civilization seems to have some tricks. It may not be what Xiaoming imagined. As for why he joined the Mingjing team, that can be said. Kraken is now equivalent to a college student in human society. Before graduation, he needs to do an internship and submit some reports and papers. The Pangu star civilization has only recently received the attention of the cosmic civilization family. The two sides are gradually contacting each other. Mainly, high-level reincarnations communicate with aliens. The Pangu star civilization is in the stage of being observed and has not officially joined the big family. The procedures in the middle are very complicated, and it is normal to observe for 1.8 million years. After hearing about it, Kraken thought it was very interesting, so he made observing the Pangustar civilization his internship content. The details are confidential. He came to the vicinity of Pangustar about 40 years ago. At that time, Xiaoming was not even born. To be frank, Zhang Xiaoming grew up under Kraken's watch. Naturally, he also saw Xiaoming using source energy to strengthen items. He may be the first person to know that Xiaoming has superpowers. So he paid attention to Xiaoming and kept paying attention to him. Of course, he only knew the fact of Xiaoming's superpowers but didn't know why. Xiaoming never expected that his whole life would be watched by the Kraken's eyes. Although Xiaoming has always been cautious and careful, he also paid attention to not letting others see when using superpowers. Unfortunately, no matter how many precautions are taken, high-tech aliens cannot be prevented. Fortunately, this alien was well informed and seemed to be accustomed to Xiaoming's superpowers. He just mentioned it and skipped it. It was not until the Magic Planet game was opened that things changed rapidly and significantly. Xiaoming seemed to have turned on a cheat, and his strength grew by leaps and bounds. Then Xiaoming entered the reincarnation space. Kraken was not calm now. This matter was too interesting and worth following up. So he chased Xiaoming into the reincarnation space and continued his internship. At this time, the focus of Kraken's internship had changed from observing certain characteristics of Pangustar civilization to observing Xiaoming. After hearing these words, Xiaoming said that it was a bit confusing, let me sort it out. Xiaoming rubbed his head and thought about it. Let's not talk about other things first. Kraken spent 40 years on a university internship. How old is his life now? After asking this question, Kraken said that he was still young. According to the calculation of Pangustar, he is only more than 300 years old now. Humph, Xiaoming felt that he had been holding back an MMP but didn't know whether he should say it or not. Then Zhao Zhu said that more than 300 years old is indeed very young. He is already more than 700 years old, and he is still a child in the Dragon Clan. Mathematical intersection symbol Xiaoming said in the way of Pangustar, you are awesome, I surrender. At first, I thought they were young people younger than me, but I knew that I met two old men. However, according to the lifespan of their own race, they are indeed young people. The frankness of these two people is really more shocking than the other, which shocks Xiaoming. Finally, he said something to Kraken earnestly. Those energy blocks must be sold at a good price. Kraken said, don't worry, leader. I will be your agent and guarantee that you will make a lot of money. We also have a backstage. Of course, he said these words in a more elegant tone. The Kraken race does not speak by sound waves, but communicates with its own race by releasing different smells. So their communication is often open. When a meaning is expressed, the surrounding aquatic creatures can feel it. Even a few days later, they can still smell it. Therefore, this race is a relatively honest race. Unlike humans, they are not as deceitful as humans. When they talk to humans, they need to use a translator. The translator can translate the smell he releases into human language. Because of the setting of the translator, Xiaoming felt that the Kraken had always been very polite, too polite. In fact, it was just a translation problem. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 656. One is a dragon, and the other is an alien. Both of them are from big families. If they can get closer, it will be very helpful for Xiaoming. Xiaoming has always had a sense of crisis. As the saying goes, it is a crime to possess a treasure. Xiaoming is a person who has a huge fortune but does not have enough protection ability. Now Xiaoming is temporarily safe for several reasons. First, his wealth is not fully exposed, and others only think he is a small upstart. Second, he made up a background with some strength to make people afraid to act rashly. Third, he found two big forces as allies. When trying to win over the Li family and the zombie lineage, Xiaoming took the initiative to take measures. This time, it was not Xiaoming who took the initiative to lick others. It was Zhu and Kraken who took the initiative to find Xiaoming. But it gave Xiaoming the opportunity to win over more powerful forces to use as a tiger skin. The reason why the two of them made this matter clear to Xiaoming. The reason is that Xiaoming's strength and authority are getting stronger and stronger. If he continues to hide, the consumption will be greater. In fact, Kraken can't hold on. His internship was funded by his own civilization, but the cost in the reincarnation space was a bit too high. At the beginning, in order to improve his strength, he spent some money, which was not a loss. However, every time he spent money for disguise, it seemed to be a waste. Especially as Xiaoming improved, the cost of disguise in front of Xiaoming became higher and higher. He had no choice but to discuss it privately with Zhao Zhu. They did not deliberately hide their identities from each other. Zhao Zhu was born in the Dragon clan, and his status was slightly higher. He was richer than Kraken. In addition, due to the difference in the nature of the forces behind him, the cost of Zhao Zhu's disguise was much lower than Kraken. However, with the birth of Chen Wei's little child, Zhao Zhu's identity had actually been exposed a long time ago, and the disguise now was a bit unnecessary. Seeing that Kraken had this intention, Zhao Zhu also came down on this step. Of course, there is another premise. The two of them knew Xiaoming's character very well. Zhang Xiaoming was just a very lazy guy. This kind of person, even if he knew his family's secrets, he was too lazy to get to the bottom of it. They were even more reluctant to reveal their identities. So they boldly disclosed their identities in front of Xiaoming. However, they still needed to disguise themselves in front of Brother Wen and Xiao Jing. Of course, it cost very little to hide from these two. After their identities were exposed, the three of them felt closer to each other. They could also speak more directly. Zhao Zhu said, "You two, my mission is optional. I can stay here for 2 months. What about you?" Xiaoming thought for a while and said, "It's okay, I don't need to do the mission either." "Kraken, how are you?" "Please wait a moment." "Damn, it's done, the language mode is finally adjusted." Kraken was relieved. He continued, "If you ask me, you two are really not nice. I have to do the mission every time. Although it is a choice of 3. I still have to do it." It seems that he adjusted the language mode of the translator. Now it doesn't sound so awkward. It sounds like human language. My first mission is to seize a set of human mechas. Those two are boring. Let's do this. Do you want to go together? As he said that, Kraken's two cute big eyes looked at Zhao Zhu and Zhang Xiaoming respectively. Zhao Zhu couldn't hold it in first. "Okay, I'm afraid of you. I'll go with you." Thinking about it, he was unwilling. "I think you just want to save money and don't want to use a better mecha. After completing the mission, give me a C-level item as a reward." Kraken was overjoyed. Okay, no problem. To be honest, I'm a little tight on money. I'll have money after selling the leader's energy block." Well, being a middleman to make a profit, this guy actually said it in front of me. Xiaoming suddenly said, "Octopus, Zhu, there is no need to make a big fuss. My other 2 bodies are in the human base, and I will move a few out for you later. Do you want a ground-type mecha or an aerial fighter? Fighters are useless, so just go for the ground ones. Bring me a few more to choose from. I'll go and beg other fish, and I'll definitely help you sell the energy blocks at a high price." "Okay. You still want to choose?" Xiaoming is so angry. This octopus has changed its language mode, how come even its character has changed? It's not polite at all. But he is now the gatekeeper of an important trade route, and he must give face. Besides, stealing mechas is not a big deal. Guangmingding has now expanded 10 times, and I originally planned to steal a few more. It doesn't matter. So he agreed. Seeing that the mission has been settled, the three of them started to play in the dense forest together. In this world, Pandora is a planet in the Alpha Centauri system, about the same size as the Earth. But she is not a planet, but a satellite of the giant gas planet Polyphemus. The air of Pandora is full of ammonia, methane, and chlorine. Humans cannot survive here without equipment. Zhao Zhuzhu and the Insect King can survive entirely by relying on their own physique. Although Kraken's physique is not good, his tights and mecha can guarantee his life needs. It is such an environment that breeds a group of unique creatures. The three people are dazzled. Whether it is animals or plants here, they are very different from those on Pangu Star, and it is estimated that they will not look the same as the other two's home planets. They both seem to have the ability to smuggle things into the real world. When they see interesting things, they will occasionally collect them. On the surface, it seems that only the Insect King did not pick up things. But in fact, there are more than 27 Star Shadow clones, scattered around the periphery, diligently picking up things. The things taken away are more than 10 times more than those of Zhuzhu and Kraken. Moreover, Xiaoming has now copied the ability of Xinwei, and he no longer needs to go through the housekeeper's mind beast to open the bright summit. He can directly collect things inside. At the same time, inside the human base, Yin Xiaoming and Huang Xiaoming also reaped a lot. It was not a government department on Earth that established a base on Pandora. It was a commercial company called RDA. They also hired a large number of mercenaries. After all, they ran to other planets to take advantage, and a certain scale of armed protection is still necessary. Huang Xiaoming is just an ordinary member of the mercenaries. He is not qualified to drive a mecha or a fighter plane, and can only use some individual weapons. Xiaoming is not polite, and the circle and scan are released, and the arsenal and armory are in full view. To be honest, Xiaoming is a little disappointed. Probably because these mercenaries are just security personnel of RDA company. They are not regular troops at all. So the weapons and equipment they used were not very good. The combat power of a single mecha was about the same as that of the mecha in the Matrix. Fighters, air transport planes, etc. were not that strong. They were all using gunpowder weapons, which were far less powerful than the energy weapons of the hackers. So Xiaoming only stole one of the various ground mechas, and left the others intact. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 657. Although the weapons and ordnance in the base were not satisfactory, the things in the research room made Xiaoming's eyes light up. Yin Xiaoming's identity is an employee of the research department. Here Xiaoming saw high-tech things like Avatar. This reincarnation world is named after this. What is Avatar? We know that the environment of Pandora does not support human survival. There is a kind of advanced intelligent creature on Pandora, the NA6. They are about 3 meters tall, with blue glow and patterns all over their bodies, a long tail behind them, and pointed ears. Apart from this, their body shape and appearance are almost the same as humans. The civilization of the NA6 is still in the primitive human stage. They advocate harmonious coexistence with nature and reject all high-tech products. Their living habits are very similar to the legendary elves. Earth scientists mixed human genes with the DNA of the NA6 and cultivated a body that looks like the NA6 with a height of nearly 3 meters. And it can be controlled by human will and thinking, so that it can survive and move more conveniently on Pandora. This body is called Avatar. It sounds very similar to the technology of copying and modifying people in the New Han Kingdom. Xiaoming also has this kind of hybrid clone. Most of them were put into the surface battle of the Yan Emperor Galaxy Nuwa planet. That is Xiaoming. Those clones are naturally not Na6, but some military creatures on Nuwa star. For example, Xiaoming once possessed a replica that looked like a minotaur. That feeling was really interesting. However, Xiaoming was worried about exposing his strength, so the number of times he possessed Xiaoming can be said to be very few. The situation on Nuwa star is too complicated. From the few battles, most areas of Nuwa star are in a state of rampage by undead. But there are also several good forces that have occupied some territory. With the strength of the New Han Kingdom's cosmic army, it is only a force that occupies some territory on Nuwa star. In addition, Nuwa star also has a huge underground system. The creatures inside don't seem to be easy to mess with. Thinking of this, Xiaoming suddenly had an idea. Can he pull the Zerg over and occupy a place in the underground system under Nuwa? Xiaoming estimated that the potential for the development of Zerg forces in the sheltered area would not be too great. After all, there are already so many overlords. But if he goes to Nuwa star, the situation will be completely different. And the underground is the terrain suitable for him to use alchemy. There is a home advantage. Of course, Xiaoming will not rush over rashly. This matter needs to be considered in the long run. If there is time, go and explore the way first. Avatar technology is at best a supplement and reference for the New Han Kingdom. It is estimated to be worthless. However, the Shen family, who is implementing the Shen'an plan, should need this technology very much. The clone technology of the New Han Kingdom is strictly controlled by the court, and the Shen family must not have obtained it. If you have avatar technology, after discovering a planet with life, you don't have to send precious human resources to the surface of the planet to take risks. You can combine the DNA of the creatures on that planet with human genes to make a new type of avatar. Then the Pangu people can remotely control the avatar to explore new planets in space. The advantage should not be too big. From a scientific point of view, the possibility that the natural environment of a new life planet just meets the conditions for human survival is almost zero. So you can imagine how shocked the scientists of the New Han Kingdom were when they found that the Quafu star and the Nuwa star in the Yanhuang 3-star system actually meet the conditions for human survival. This is certainly not a coincidence, but the result of some kind of force forcibly interfering. We actually know that this force is the power of Fuxi-Qin, yellow source energy. Normally, it is the most reasonable phenomenon that humans cannot survive when a new planet is discovered. In fact, let alone alien planets, even the natural environment of Pangu star itself is constantly changing. In the 4.5 billion years of Pangu star's history, there was a long period of time when it was not suitable for modern human survival. It can be seen how useful the avatar technology will be for the future of the Shen'an project. The premise is that the Shen family will solve their current troubles first. Including the problem of Shen'an getting lost, the problem of Xianku being seriously injured, the problem of hostile forces deliberately making trouble. After all these are solved, and after a planet with life is discovered, the avatar technology will be needed. It seems a bit too early now. But Xiaoming doesn't care. Just get it first and study it for fun. Moreover, it is relatively easy for Xiaoming to learn this kind of pure technology. At least he can do it by copying. Xiaoming predicts that mastering this technology will be more or less helpful for some of his supernatural energy skills. For example, the ability to create 3 people, the ability to breed insect humans, the ability of shadow clones. It would be difficult to steal technology in the past, but it is very easy now. Not long ago, Xiaoming just got the Sherinan and illusion in the Naruto world. These researchers are ordinary people, not extraordinary people. How can they resist the Sherinan? A little illusion can make them surrender. It took Yan Xiaoming about a week to learn all the knowledge about Avatar and get the corresponding equipment. Guangmingding was big enough, so Xiaoming built a laboratory. It's a bit shameless to say establish. In fact, Xiaoming directly moved part of the laboratory in the human base into Guangmingdong. At the same time, he also brought in a large number of scientific researchers. Xiaolu was responsible for taking care of them. Among them were Dr. Grace Augustine, the head of the Scientific Research Department, Norm Spellman, and others. Under the influence of Xiaoming's illusion, they thought they were still working for RDA. In addition to avatar technology, they are also studying an even more amazing technology. It is Pandora's unique neural connection system. In the minds of scientists, this is Pandora's most precious treasure. However, RDA, the Resource Development Administration, obviously doesn't think so. The company is eyeing the unique ore on Pandora, unobtainium. It is an extremely rare room temperature superconductor, and 1 kilogram is worth $20 million. This ore has a peculiar magnetic field. Under the influence of Pandora's magnetic field, it produces a spectacular scene of giant stone islands floating in the air. These huge rock islands suspended in the air are called Hallelujah Mountains by the people on Earth. They are a major scenic spot on Pandora. They are very similar to the Fairy Mountains in Chinese mythology and legends. The top of the huge rock island is relatively flat, while the surroundings are extremely steep. The river pours down from the cliffs to form a waterfall suspended in the air. The Na6 people call these floating islands Thunder Holy Stones and regard them as inviolable holy lands. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 658. Another feature of the Na6 that is very similar to the elves is that they also live with the huge tree of life and call it the Holy Tree. The size of the Holy Tree is no less than the towering trees that Xiaoming saw in the world of the Lord of the Rings. Unobtainium, a unique ore, happens to be distributed at the roots of the Holy Tree. This is probably not a coincidence, but because of the peculiarity of the ore, it breeds this tree that is larger than the castle. Because of this, RDA's mining industry on Pandora has been stubbornly resisted by the Na6. With the mining methods on Earth, if you want to dig ore, you must overthrow the Holy Tree. The Na6 will never accept this. This contradiction is almost irreconcilable. RDA has gradually lost patience. Parker Sfridge, the head of the company on Pandora, has argued with the leaders of the science department many times. He even issued an ultimatum. At the same time, he frequently communicated with the commander of the mercenaries, Colonel Miles Quarch, and actively planned to use force to eliminate the Na6 and seize the ore. Colonel Miles Quarch, as a retired soldier, has a serious tendency towards violence. He has long had the idea of using force to flatten the entire planet. As for the mercenaries below, of course they take money from people and help them get rid of disasters. The boss said to use force, so let's use force. Even humans can be the target of killing, let alone these aliens. The soldiers are more simple and do not really treat the Na6 as wild animals. They just follow the rules of the soldiers and eliminate all enemies. Not as hypocritical as Parker Severidge. Using the excuse that these aliens are not recognized by the Earth, they think that the other party has no human rights and can be slaughtered at will like animals. Unlike the Earth, the great age of navigation on Pangustar was opened by the later Qin Empire. What the Chinese did was far from the crazy level of Western colonists in the parallel world. Instead, they made full use of the powerful integration ability of the Chinese civilization and integrated all kinds of people wherever they went into the blood of Yanhuang. Of course, this process cannot be all beautiful. Since it is colonization and aggression, there will definitely be violence, fraud, and other behaviors. But in general, it is still 10,000 times better than Westerners. Moreover, at that time, the attraction of the Celestial Empire was the best in the world, and many ethnic groups and countries were willing to integrate into it, even fighting for their heads. Taking the essence and discarding the dross, their joining has greatly enriched the connotation of Chinese civilization. Of course, Xiaoming has been baptized by Far Island's strange man, and he does not find the thinking mode of RDA strange, but he absolutely cannot tolerate it. If it is a life and death racial war between the three races of humans, gods, and insects, Xiaoming still finds it difficult to judge right and wrong. But like RDA, just for the sake of profit and making money, it can carry out genocide against a highly intelligent race. Xiaoming does not recognize that this is something that humans can do. In Xiaoming's mind, the guy who did this has been expelled from the human race. For Parker, Xiaoming took two measures. The first measure is to use the illusion ability of the Sherinon to make Parker think that RDA is involved in a political scandal and temporarily change its strategy. In the short term, we cannot kill the NA6. To avoid being attacked by hostile forces. This is a reasonable excuse. If Xiaoming lied to him and said that RDA had a change of heart, he would not believe it 100%. Illusions must be reasonable. The second method is to insert a sort of judgment into him. See if it can be transformed. Parker has done too many bad things to climb to such a position in RDA at such a young age. It can only be said that as a senior manager, the only bad thing he has not done is to kill people with his own hands. However, due to his planning, the number of people who have lost their fortunes and families is definitely more than 3 digits. Xiaoming's sword of judgment will give him enough punishment. Xiaoming, who has the Sherinon and has learned illusions, has a more powerful sword of judgment. The torture suffered by the judged will be more unforgettable. In addition, on the mercenary side, several people who were already murderous, led by Colonel Miles Quarch, were also bewitched by Xiaoming with illusions and stabbed with the sword of judgment. Xiaoming also gave them a chance to see if they could repent. As for most people in the human base, they were not affected. They were just doing what they were ordered to do. Due to the change in the upper level policy, RDA company temporarily stopped driving out to mine. Naturally, there would be no more conflicts. Except for the scientist team who could take some guards out of the base when they went out for investigation, everyone else was trapped inside the base to avoid trouble. Yin Xiaoming was responsible for controlling the entire base and following up on various scientific research projects. The laboratory in Guangmingding was extremely busy. Huang Xiaoming was responsible for following the scientific research team and protecting their safety. The avatar operated by the male protagonist Jack Sully was also in this team. However, because Huang Xiaoming was there to hold the line, there was no danger at all. Any creature on the surface of Pandora would retreat in front of Huang Xiaoming. The insect dragonfish team composed of Lu Xiaoming, Zhao Jizhu, and Kraken is now also regarded as a distinguished guest by the NA6 tribe. The three of them are exploring the dense forest of Pandora, and there are more than a dozen 7-star shadow clones guarding them outside. In addition, Xiaoming also sent 8 7-star shadow clones, each with a few ordinary uniformed beast clones, and they are exploring further. In this reincarnation world, Xiaoming did not completely let go of the map scanning. First, enjoy the fun of exploring the unknown. After wandering around for several days, a group of people naturally met the native NA6 of Pandora. It was the Omaticea tribe to which the heroine belonged. Because the identity of the insect dragonfish squad is also the native of Pandora, it is considered a minority. So the NA6 did not regard them as enemies. However, they are now strolling in someone else's territory, so it is necessary for them to ask. Sutai, the best warrior in the tribe, came to a 7-star shadow clone with several warriors riding on a 6-legged heavy armored horse. Sutai could feel the power of the 7-star shadow clone. It is much stronger than himself and others. Thinking to himself, these ethnic minorities can survive, and there is indeed a reason for him. The clone also looked at the group of NA6 carefully. Their physical fitness is much better than that of ordinary humans. It is about between level 2 and level 3. It's a pity that I don't have any supernatural energy, otherwise I would be even more powerful and wouldn't be bullied by a company of human mercenaries. Well, this seems to be a breakthrough for me. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 659. Seeing Sutai and several other warriors dismount and separate their braids from the heavy armored horse's braids, Xiaoming then realized that this is how the braid is used. In the past few days, the Insect King has hunted and absorbed many creatures on Pandora. Almost all the vertebrate creatures on Pandora have such a braid-like organ, which is full of nerve cells. But I have never known what it is used for. Now it seems that this braid is a neural interface. It is specially used to connect with other creatures. Through this neural connection, the NA6 were able to tame this heavy armored horse as their mount. It is estimated that they will also tame some other creatures. And this neural interface must have other functions. Other creatures have neural interfaces, which should not be specially tamed by the NA6. The biggest possibility is that the same creatures use neural interfaces to transmit information to each other. This method is much more advanced than the creatures on Earth. However, compared with the spiritual sea of the Zerg, it should be a few steps behind. This neural interface is worth having. But how to have it? Even the Insect King cannot grow new organs casually. Xiaoming's mind raced. If it can't grow out, we can transplant it? The secret technique Earth Grudge just obtained in the Naruto world is just right for use. There are so many materials that can be transplanted in the dense forest, and the Insect King was not polite and immediately caught 20 creatures from the surroundings. Their braids were transplanted to the back of the Insect King's head, making it the same as the NA6's braids. It's just that the Insect King can bear more, 20 braids hanging behind his head. Why does it look a bit like a predator? Of course, the actual functions are very different. Through the black blood vessels made by the Earth Grudge, the Insect King's braids can be freely extended and shortened. And the front end is relatively sharp, even if it is a creature without a neural interface. The tip of the braid can be used to pierce the other party's body and connect with the nerves in the other party's body. This transformation is necessary. After all, creatures with external neural interfaces only exist on the planet Pandora. Xiaoming made this thing for himself, of course, not just for use in the world of Avatar. There were some animals from Pandora in Guangmingding. There were all kinds of them, even the powerful hammer-headed thunder beast, the death beast, and even the flying banshee-winged beast. None of them could escape Xiaoming's clutches. Only the largest kind of lion-eagle-winged beast, Turuk, Xiaoming has not caught yet. The main reason is that they fly a little high, and Xiaoming is too lazy to fly up to catch them. After having the neural interface, Xiaoming quietly opened a window leading to Guangmingding, and inserted more than 20 braids into it, connecting with the neural interfaces of those creatures. It is indeed possible to communicate. However, as animals, their thoughts are still relatively simple. Perhaps because of this kind of neural organ, the animals on Pandora generally have higher mental power. However, under the deterrence of Xiaoming's 6th level mental power, they still surrendered collectively without any hesitation. This is fun. Green Xiaoming couldn't help but look up at the lion-eagle-winged beast flying from high in the sky. Since all other animals have been subdued, this big brother should not be an exception. The Insect King shook his wings and flew straight up. Is the lion-eagle-winged beast still looking down at all living things for prey? All large creatures on Pandora are its prey, even the NA6. On this planet, they have no natural enemies. If there is, it is another lion-eagle-winged beast. Their position in the food chain has never been challenged until today. The flying giant's eyes blurred, and he saw a monster rushing in front of him at an incredible speed. Before he could react, the neural interface was invaded, and the next second he had surrendered to the majesty of the insect king. This braid with a neural interface is really amazing. As the overlord of the sky on Pandora, the lion-eagle winged beast has a certain kinship with the banshee winged beast, but its size is more than twice that of the banshee winged beast. With a wingspan of up to 25 meters, it is the largest winged beast, with a full 5th level physical attribute. It is at the top of the food chain on Pandora. Before, Xiaoming got the 3rd and 4th level arms biological controllers, and also used telekinesis to simulate similar abilities. But for the lion-eagle winged beast, the controller is useless. The level is not enough. But the Zerg skill Zerg Conquer should be able to, right? In fact, when Xiaoming used the neural interface to invade the nerves of other creatures, he had already naturally used the Zerg Conquer skill. The perfect combination of 6th level mental power and Zerg Conquer skill and neural interface gave Xiaoming an extremely powerful ability to tame animals at will. Seeing that this ability is so useful, Yin Xiaoming and Huang Xiaoming also transplanted a braid to themselves. They are all in human form, and it is too ugly to have too many braids. One is enough. Sometimes Xiaoming even doubts whether this conquer combination can also conquer humans. You can try it if you have a chance. Green Xiaoming landed on a huge lion-eagle winged beast. At this time, Sutai and several other NA6 people, led by the 7 Yao Shadow clones, had just arrived in front of the insect-dragonfish combination. The NA6 people were shocked when they saw the scene of the insect king landing on the lion-eagle winged beast. It was really a kingly aura. Although the NA6 didn't kneel down on the spot, their attitude towards the insect king was several times more respectful. The lion-eagle winged beast that Xiaoming subdued was one of the more powerful of this species. It was quite powerful. However, Xiaoming used these animals on Pandora for experiments and taming for fun. The atmospheric environment of Pandora was very different from that of Pangu. In order to raise them, Xiaoming had to prepare special single rooms, which was actually quite troublesome. Fortunately, there were such single rooms in the laboratory of the human base, because humans were also studying local creatures. As the actual person in charge of the human base, Xiaoming naturally brought a few rooms to Guangmingding without hesitation. They were handed over to Dr. Grace and others for use. These scientists are all treasures. Their research on neural externalization has actually been quite in-depth. In addition, they can also possess the avatar and experience the feeling of neural externalization in person. Xiaoming hopes that they can research some results as soon as possible. By the way, can we also transplant a small braid on their human bodies? This will definitely make their research more convenient. After consulting with many scientists, except for 3 or 5 people who were unwilling, most of the scientific researchers were willing to accept the transplant. They really have a spirit of dedication. To be on the safe side, Xiaoming temporarily only transplanted neural interfaces to 1/3 of them. This greatly stimulated their enthusiasm for work. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 660. As a representative of the Omaticaya tribe, Sutai came to meet the 3 worm dragonfish just to show the tribe's presence. There was no intention to expel these ethnic minorities. The guests came, and as a local snake, you have to greet them. On the one hand, it was a greeting, and on the other hand, it was a silent reminder, this place has an owner, don't do stupid things. In the legend of the NA6 people, taming the lion-eagle winged beast is a top priority. The Knight of the lion-eagle winged beast will be respected by all NA6 people. But this kind of thing only exists in legends, only heard of but not seen. Today, I actually saw a living one. Sutai and his friends immediately invited them to the tribe. Lu Xiaoming, Zhao Jizhu, and Kraken readily agreed. Following the NA6 through the dense forest, they came to the sacred tree where the Omaticaya tribe lived. The tribal chief Atukang, his wife Muya, and his daughter Nitlai, who received the news, led all the members of the tribe to greet them. Everyone's eyes were focused on the insect king who had subdued the lion eagle-winged beast. Although they were all wooden eyes of awe and worship, Xiaoming still felt like he was on display. This time, a small number of Na6 people really knelt down devoutly. Xiaoming did not like being worshipped by others. His own insect humans and the Zerg under his command would not perform this kind of kneeling ceremony. The Zerg were sincere, and respect and submission were expressed in the spiritual realm and actual actions. This kind of external etiquette was dispensable. Seeing the Na6 people kneeling, Xiaoming waved his hand and lifted them all up with the force. Showing such a hand made the Na6 people more awed by him. Xiaoming and others were very interested in the customs and habits of the Na6 people, and the Na6 people were also interested in the three of them, so the three insect dragon fishes lived in the tribe. Several people soon discovered that although the chief of the tribe was a Tukang, her wife Mui was the spiritual leader of the entire tribe, and she was responsible for presiding over all religious ceremonies of the tribe. The actual power was still above her husband. Their daughter, Neatly, should take over her mother's position in the tribe in the future. Her husband may be the next chief of the tribe. But this little girl is too curious. She was the first one to dare to touch the lion eagle-winged beast. Under Xiaoming's mental suppression, the lion eagle-winged beast did not bite off her head, but just pushed her away with its wings. Xiaoming did not intend to use the dignity of the lion eagle-winged beast to please the Na6. Neatly was not discouraged, and took meat to please the lion eagle-winged beast, looking like a little pug. In the mythological system of the Na6, there is a great god on the planet Pandora, Eva. In charge of all life on the planet, a bit like Gaia, the god of the earth in Western legends, or Nuwa, the mother of the earth in Chinese legends. There is also a ritual in the tribe that can communicate with Eva. At first, Xiaoming and others only thought it was a primitive religious belief. Out of courtesy, Xiaoming still participated in the ceremony. Zhao Zhuzhu and Kraken each have their own beliefs and declined the ceremony. They were not the heroes who had subdued the lion eagle-winged beast, so the Na6 didn't care if they didn't participate. The insect king and the Na6 sat in a circle on the ground, holding hands, swaying and chanting. The language was naturally not a problem with the reincarnation space. Xiaoming could feel that during the ceremony, the spiritual power of all the Na6 people was connected together, and Xiaoming's spiritual power naturally joined in. This ceremony reminded Xiaoming of the real court. That was the ability developed by Wang Zhenzhen in the world of My Date with a Vampire 2. There are certain similarities with this ceremony. In such a powerful spiritual connection, no Na6 can lie or deceive others. This can provide a fair and just trial for the Na6 people. It will not allow treacherous and cunning criminals to occupy high positions. This society is much more reasonable than human society. While Xiaoming was daydreaming, Eva's spirit actually descended on this ceremony. OMG! It turns out that this great god really exists. All the Na6 were very excited to get Eva's response. Although they often organize such ceremonies, most of the time they only express their piety to Eva unilaterally. Eva would occasionally respond slightly, giving replies like got it? This was the first time that Eva paid such serious attention to her. All the Na6 thought it was Xiaoming's credit. In fact, it was true. Xiaoming had a 6th level mental power. The strongest Na6 on this planet only had a 3rd level mental power. Such a high-end existence, of course, alarmed Eva. Both sides left the Na6 aside and started a one-on-one communication. Eva's mental power was as vast as the sea in terms of quantity. It was far ahead of Xiaoming. However, her thinking seemed to be a little simple and immature, which surprised Xiaoming. I thought she would be a god with wisdom like the sea. But thinking about her people, everything on Pandora was still in its primitive stage. Her soul was indeed not complicated. Xiaoming hesitated a little. Should he tell her what humans are like? Would it hurt her? Maybe she would learn bad things. However, he thought that the Earthlings had already started to march towards Pandora, where there was a unique mineral called unobtainium. The greedy RDA company would never give up. If the company couldn't handle it, the regular army would probably come next. If the Earth's population is too large to accommodate and has to migrate to Pandora to compete for living space, then Xiaoming can't intervene. It's like seeing a wolf catching a sheep. Saving the sheep will let the wolf starve to death. It's wrong to favor either one. If it's big bad wolf catching pleasant goat, there's even less to worry about, because the sheep won't die and the wolf won't starve to death. But it's not that kind of situation now. RDA is just a robbery that is blinded by money. Thinking of China in the parallel space, which has also been bullied in the same way, Xiaoming might have to take sides, at least to let the NA6 have the power to protect themselves. The question is how to make Eva understand these things. Xiaoming thought about it. Hey, I got it, isn't The Strange Man of the Far Island the most suitable textbook? So he packed this set of books in his mind and gave it to Eva, with his goodwill attached. This set of books is really a big book, with tens of millions of words. Eva probably has to read it for a while and think about it for a while. But she first felt Xiaoming's kindness, which could not be faked. So she opened a special channel, allowing Xiaoming to contact her at any time. As the host of the ceremony, Mui and all the participants also felt that Eva valued Xiaoming. At this moment, they almost regarded Xiaoming as Eva's spokesperson. No wonder he could subdue the lion eagle-winged beast, his background is too strong.